Spring is in the air. No, I'm just joking. But there is something very serious going on here. Amphibian declines, and it's happening around the world. For the past 20 years, scientists have noticed dramatic decreases in the populations of amphibians. Right here in the United States of America, 38 species are on the Endangered Species Act. Globally, almost 1 in every 3rd species of amphibians is threatened with extinction. Although there's many different reasons for that going on, there's many different things that you can do. The one that I'm going to do, join citizen science. So success with the first step, just showing up. So I'm here at Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, and I'm about to head into the first meeting to find out all about FrogWatch USA, the citizen science program that's being orchestrated through AZA, the American Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And they've established a local chapter right here in Cleveland. So although there's chapters all over the nation listening to different amphibian calls, I want to get cracking right here in Cleveland and start hearing some stuff. So let's go find out what's going on. Okay, so maybe before you want to jump on the bandwagon and go to a meeting and sign up, you're probably asking yourself the all-important question, why? Well, good question, and I'm glad you asked. So not only are amphibians just cool, they're actually really important. So they help with pest control. So amphibian populations are keeping in check all those inverts that are hopping around and flying around. But amphibians are also prey items themselves for all the other wildlife that's in the habitat. And speaking of habitat, they're really important because they're indicator species, meaning they're telling us how the habitat's doing. If amphibians aren't doing well, hello, the habitat's not doing well. So there's actually a number of different reasons that amphibian populations are on the decline. Anything from habitat destruction, to climate change, to parasites, and even pollution. So with all that going on, it's really great to just acquire data of what's going on with the populations over time, succession. So basically, I'm going to come out here throughout the year because there's going to be different species calling. Some are going to call in the spring and taper off, and then others are going to pick up midsummer, and then even other species are going to pick up late summer. So it's information that can be collected throughout the season. So let's get going. Okay, so we've satisfied the why, but perhaps you're still finding yourself asking, what am I getting into? Again, good question, and I'm glad you asked. So citizen science is this awesome collaboration between volunteers and scientists that come together to expand their opportunities for data collection. So with FrogWatch USA, that's something they wanted to do across the nation. Well, volunteers is what makes that possible, and that's why it's been going on for well over a decade. That's a lot of data for amphibians. So by being a volunteer, we help look at succession, change over time with these amphibian species. It's great information to make future calls. Conservation Coordinator Gail Albers of Cleveland Metro Park Zoo led the meeting where volunteers received all the necessary items to start the journey to become certified volunteers, which began with an icebreaker where participants used various items around the room to replicate sounds of the calling amphibians they'd soon be hearing out in their natural habitat. Gail also explained the data sheet that volunteers would be using to record the information and then submit it electronically.
Like just a total downpour or maybe a snowfall the day before, that's interesting information. You would want to put that in your notes.
The meeting ended with any last questions about the certification test in the following week before volunteers could head out and listen at the different locations. I got a chance to speak with Gail one-on-one about her role at Cleveland Metro Park Zoo and her take on the Cleveland chapter and its volunteers.
I think the conservation coordinator position was developed at the zoo to try to unite natural resources and outdoor education and zoo education. So it was by design intended to get people outside and looking at native Ohio animals and wildlife as opposed to the exotics that the zoo typically deals with. So we've been involved with projects like Blanding's turtles and garter snake reintroduction, and now that we're doing citizen science, we've got FrogWatch and NestWatch and butterfly monitoring. We started FrogWatch here at Cleveland Metro Parks this fall, and we did our first trainings in the early spring, and so it's a very new chapter. It was only the second in the state when we started this chapter. This is our pilot year for the project, so I'm hoping that volunteers just show up, first of all. But I'd like for them to get more interested in the urban ecology here at Brookside and in their own neighborhoods. Of course, they have to adhere to the protocols, so they have to turn in data sheets and have enough data sheets throughout the season so that they can continue as certified volunteers. But the protocols are pretty much spelled out, and all of the volunteers that we've been able to attract so far have been really great, so I'm pleased.
How cool is this? I'm here, I'm this close to starting the process that is citizen science through FrogWatch USA, the Cleveland chapter. I'm going to come back here tonight after sunset and see what we can get going and do my part. Done. Hey guys, so I'm brushing up on my frog calls before I head out tonight, looking over everything and listening one last time. I've even synced all the calls to my phone so I can reference them when I'm out there. Gotta love technology. You better brush up too before you head out. So how cool is this? We made it to the first night of observations for FrogWatch USA. I'm out here at the Brookside Reservation at the Cleveland Metro Parks. I'm going to head over in a little bit to the vernal ponds there, and once I get there, I'm going to give everyone a 2-minute acclimation period, which basically means I'm going to sit there quietly and let the amphibians hit the reset button in case I disturb them upon my arrival. After the acclimation period, I'm going to listen for 3 minutes. I'm going to count how many amphibians are calling and the number of species that are calling as well. After that, I'll make some notes about the weather, and then I'll submit the data. That's it. That's the start to my participation in citizen science with FrogWatch USA. How cool is this? Let's get going. Okay, so I did my 2 minutes of acclimation, and then I did my 3 minutes of observation. I didn't hear one call. Bit of a rough start for our first night of observations, but science can be disappointing sometimes. But this is citizen science, so I guess we'll just have to come back on another time. Till then, keep watching. Okay, so I didn't hear a lot of calls the first night, but I am really looking forward to the rest of the season. As could anyone, in any neighborhood, any community. Start the process and join citizen science and get involved in conservation in their community. FrogWatch USA and cars that drive by and they make a lot of noise. The American Association of Zoos and Aquariums and Cars! Alright, so success with cars. Showing up and cars. Almost one. Alright, so maybe I didn't hear a lot of calls the first night, but why did you just turn? So, I don't know.